So the next verb we're going to learn in our group of verbs is filter. We're going to learn two today, filter and select. Um, Filter works with rows and select works with columns. So if I want to, oh, come on, where did that go? Why can I not grab the edge of my screen here? That's not great. Show environment. Oh, come on. Oh, there it is. Hey. All right. Rows down here in the data. So if I wanted to limit the scratch offs to only the doubler, tripler, big bingo, that's working with rows. Select works with columns. So if I only wanted to see the amount, the game name, and maybe the retailer name, that's what select would do for me, is I could just give me those three columns. Give me all of the data, but give me just those three columns. So when I talk about verbs, I talk about like the major things that we've done. So group by is a verb. Group by puts everything into little piles, and then we can do things like summarize, that's a verb. Arrange, that's a verb. So we've been focused on group by, summarize, and arrange. And you can see here, I've got a group by, retailer name, address, and city. And then I've got a summarize here where I count up the winners and I count up the total dollars that those winners have won. And then I arrange it by which place has the winners. We did this in class the other day. So you'll see the top winner place that sells lotto tickets, the Super C out on West A Street here in Lincoln. Well, let's pretend for a second, as I told you in class the other day, that my wife likes to play the lotto, likes to buy lotto tickets, and she wants to buy lotto tickets, and she only wants to go to places in Lincoln that have a lot of winners. So the way we get there is through filtering. And filtering is just really just a logic problem. So I want to filter. And now what goes inside of the filter here is just a logical condition. Now, when I say logical condition, that could be something equals something, something is greater than or less than, or greater than and equal to or less than and equal to, something does not equal. And I can use that for both numbers and words. So I've got a column here, retailer city. So I'm going to start with a column. Retailer city. There we go. And I only want to see Lincoln. Now, if I go ahead and put Lincoln in here, retailer city equals Lincoln, great. And I run this. It's given me 24. But now is the number one winner the Super C? No. Uh-oh, we got a problem. It is case dependent. So if this is all caps, Super C is back on top, and I get 129 different places in Lincoln that sell lotto tickets, but Lincoln with a lowercase, capital case, not in here. This is called dirty data, and we are going to deal with that in the coming weeks. But we can actually help ourselves out here with filters right now if I wanted to see all Lincoln locations. So this right here, logical condition. Now notice is equal to is two equal signs. So in filters, most everything we're going to do here is going to be equal signs, or is going to be two symbols here. So if I wanted greater than or equal to, that's not going to work anything because it's not a number, but greater than or equal to. If I wanted to see everything that's not Lincoln, I'd add an exclamation mark here, exclamation mark equal sign. So this gives me everything but Lincoln. So now if I do this, now I get Grand Island, Omaha, Wahoo, Fairbury, York, Hastings, Omaha, Bellevue, Columbus, yada, yada. That's what I mean by logical condition. Now, I said we can help ourselves out here with our dirty data. We can add filters to this, but we have to be a little bit careful about how we do that. There's two kinds of ways. You could absolutely just add another filter here. Oops, city. Like this. And when I run this, I get nothing. Uh-oh. My code worked, but I get nothing. Well, that's because when you run two filters like this, what you're saying is both of these conditions have to be true. The way that this gets done in like database world is it's called an AND query. It's saying retailer city equals Lincoln in all caps and the retailer city equals Lincoln with just the L capitalized. Is there a retailer that is both of those things at the exact same time? No. No, there's not. Can't be that. So what we need to do here is not an AND query. We need to do an OR query. Well, the way to do that is actually in the filter itself. We could do AND retailer city equals Lincoln here like this and get the exact same result. We're going to get nothing. This AND works here, and same problem. Can't be these two things both times. To do OR, we use the pipe. That little pipe symbol, which is shift backslash. It's above your enter or return key. Retailer city equals Lincoln, or the retailer city equals Lincoln spelled this way. And when I run this now, I get 153 locations. Now, lowercase or title cased Lincoln is nowhere in the top 10. There we go. Number 13 in the list is a title cased one. And you can see them sprinkled in throughout there. So we've done one type of query. We're just looking for one thing. And if our data is clean and everything's the same, that would work. In this case, our data is not clean. So we have to use this OR to get both of them. So we have both kinds. But I can do some other stuff with this. Well, actually, I'm just going to leave this the way that it is. Now, recall, my wife loves to gamble with this stuff. So what if I said I only wanted to go where the winners was greater than 100? So if you don't have more than 100 winners at your establishment, I don't care. I don't want to see you. How many is that? 1. That narrows it down a little too much. Well, what if we said 50? How many places in Lincoln have had more than 50? 19. That's not bad. Any on the south side of town? Uh-oh. Here's some dirty data. Well, went ahead and announced who won it. I don't think Dennis Nelson is his address. Whoopsie doodle. State probably ought to fix that. I'm not seeing anything. Village Drive might be. I'd have to map that out. 16th and South here. That may be the closest to my house, but no, Pioneers Boulevard. Here you go. So this is where an AND works for us. A question though, because again, these are logic games that we're playing here. Does winners greater than 50 equal? Would 50, if somebody had 50 winners at their location, would they be included in here? The answer is no, because this says greater than 50, and 50 is not greater than 50. So if I want to include 50 in there, I have to do greater than or equal to. And I can run it. And did it change? It did. There is one that actually has 50. The Hy-Vee at 50th and O Street has exactly 50 winners in it. So we added one more in there by doing that. So if you didn't catch that, if I do greater than 50 and I run it, I should minimize this. I get 19 rows here. And if I do greater than or equal to and run it, I get 20. So there you go. It seems to me like super C's keep showing up in here a lot. What if I only wanted to know the super C's? Well, you'll notice I can't do an exact thing like this because super C number 4 is not super C number 7, which is not number 2, and so on and so forth. Well, I can use some tricks here. So I'm going to get rid of these filters here. I'm just going to keep that. This is a little bit funky, and the tutorial is probably going to do a better job of doing this than I am here talking to you, but it helps to kind of see it work. There is a function called grepl where I can say, find me everything that has the text pattern super C in the retailer name. Now grepl is like the column name. Think of this as a whole here, because what I have to say now is double equal sign true. So show what this says. This looks really weird. I don't blame you if you're like, what? It takes a bit of getting used to. But what this is saying is find all of the super C's in retailer name. And if the answer you come back with is true, meaning you found the phrase super C in the retailer name, then go ahead and show me that column. If it's false, that means super C does not appear in the name. And if we run it, there are 11 super C's in Lincoln that have winners. The lowest one is the one on Lancaster Avenue in Denton. Well, we'll go figure there. And it's 15. And there's one in Wahoo too. Well, notice I removed my filter for Lincoln. Well, I don't care about all these other places. So retailer city equals Lincoln pipe retailer city equals Lincoln. There we go. You spell Lincoln enough times in one assignment and you start to look at it and like, is that how you spell it? All right, there's 8 super C's in Lincoln. And there they are. Our favorite joint out here on West A Street is still the clubhouse leader here. That's just a really big number compared to the rest of them. That means they must sell just a ton of scratch off tickets. Okay, I'm going to show you one other quick thing. Another way to filter this. Let's say we had a list of cities that we did want to include in here. We could create a list of them. Let's call this cities. And the way we do this is with the C function. C means concatenate. Basically, concatenate a list together. And then we can just say Lincoln, and then put commas in between them. Lincoln, lowercase. Let's do Waverly. Let's do Ashland. And let's do Denton since we saw it. Okay, these are the cities that I care about. Now, here, I can say, filter me all of the scratch-off winners where the retailer city column has data that is in, this is the new operator, in my list of cities. So find me all of the rows where retailer city matches one of these cities in my list of cities. And now if I run that, I get 161 locations. Lincoln, 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 Lincoln. Oh, come on. There's Waverly. Okay, the Cubbies in Waverly. There's Ashland. There's Denton, the Super C in Denton that we saw earlier. There's a Casey's. Here's a Family Fair in Ashland. Here's a U-Stop in Ashland. The Mammoth Station in Waverly on Highway 6. Bunch of Lincolns. Some more Waverlys. Okay, we know it worked because we can scroll through there and find all of our cities that we put in there and the spellings of them. So, to read this again, I start with my column. Every time I run a filter, I say filter, retailer city, column, a column name, filter, column name, some logical operator, some thing that it's comparing it to. So whatever comes in this second position is being compared to the data that is in this column. In this case, I'm saying compare all the cities in my list of cities up here to what the result you get in retailer city. And if they match, go ahead and give them back to me. So that's another way. If you've got a bunch, it's probably easier to just manage as a list like this and do it this way. If it's one or maybe two, it's easier to do it the other way. All right, one last quick thing, just showing you select. Let's just say I don't really want some of these columns. Let's just say I don't care about the winners. I don't want my wife to know what place we're going to. I can say select me the retailer name, the address, and the retailer city. Select works with columns. So when I run this, I'm only going to see these three columns that I spell out in there. And there they are. Winners is gone, even though it's there and it's sorted in the order of winners. This is me not telling her which place is the best place to go to, but is kind of telling her the best place to go to. This select comes in a lot more handy. If you look at this scratch-offs data, I've got how many columns? I've got 10 variables, so not a big one in here. Some of the data that we work with this semester in the tutorials, I had to thin it out because it had 1,200 column names. So if you wanted to scroll through 1,200 columns to find the one that you want, I'm happy to give you the raw data, but you don't want that. You really don't. Select just helps you narrow the pile down to make it an easier thing to work with. But I want to warn you, if you run select like up here, I'm going to add select there, and oh dang it, wrong button. There, and now I want to group by this, I want to count it, and I want to sum the amount, and I'm going to drop the select off the end here. I'm going to get an error message, and it's going to say amount not found. Well, the reason why amount's not found is because it's not in select. After you run select, that's all of the columns you have to work with. So if you run select early and then think you need a column somewhere, you have to go back here and add it. I'll be honest with you, until we get into much later in the semester, you really don't need select at all. Select usually causes more problems than it solves. There will come a point later in the semester where we're working with some visualization types that will make it, that select will make things a little bit easier, and you actually really, really do need it. That's why we're learning it now. But unless you very specifically need select, don't use select, is really what it boils down to. Most of the time we're going to use filters. We'll use filters a ton. Select we will use very, very, very infrequently. Okay, that's it. That's what we're doing. We're limiting rows and limiting columns. You have an assignment, and if you need anything, give me a holler on Slack.